Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Veronica from Blue Star Crochet, and today I'm so excited to walk you through a super fun and easy summer crochet project. We're going to make a beautiful lace crochet top with a flattering V neckline, and the best part, it's made from just two simple rectangles. No increasing, no decreasing, and absolutely no stress. It features open, airy stitchwork that looks intricate, but is actually super simple, so even if you're a confident beginner, you can totally pull this off. We'll be using soft, breathable cotton yarn. It's perfect for keeping cool and stylish all summer long. It's also easily customizable, so you can make a perfect fitting summer outfit. This top pairs beautifully with high-waisted shorts, flowy skirts, or even layered over a swimsuit. It's versatile, lightweight, and adds that handmade charm to your outfit. So grab your yarn and hook, and let's get started on this easy and elegant summer top. And let's take a look at some of the materials that we will need to crochet our summer top. So firstly, I'm going to be using King Cole Giza cotton 4-ply. This is the sorbet version, so you can see there are all sorts of different colors all incorporated into one ball. So this is the colorway Peppermint, but there are many pretty colorways to choose from. So the Giza cotton is a fingering weight 100% Giza mercerized cotton, and you get about 158 meters or 175 yards in a 50-gram ball. So it's a really great summer yarn for summer projects like tops, bags, or beach covers. So this is what we're going to be using. The exact quantities are in a written pattern in my shops or on my blog bluestarcrochet.com for the 9 different sizes. For the hook, I'm going to be using a 4.5mm crochet hook. And then we also have got some scissors, I've got yarn needles, and I've got a few stitch markers to help us along the way if you find them helpful to use. And most importantly, I've got my tape measure because we need to match the gauge, and also I'm going to walk you through a few places where we can adjust the fit of the top. If you want it to be a bit longer or a bit wider, I'm just going to give you a few pointers on how to do that, so you can crochet yourself a top that is going to fit you really well. So these are the materials that we're going to need. Now let's jump into the stitch pattern. Because of the way our top is constructed from 2 rectangle panels that are sewn together in the middle, creating the opening for the neck, our starting chain is going to then determine the length of your top. So if you wanted to adjust the length, the multiples for this stitch pattern is multiples of 8 plus 2, okay? So I'm going to show you how to create the stitch pattern on a smaller sample, so we can just run through it and we know where to place the stitches for the stitch pattern. And then I'm going to show you, once we have the 2 panels finished, I'm going to show you how to then put the panels together and how to create a summer top. So to start, I'm going to create a slip knot. So I'm going to pop the loop onto my hook, cross over and grab the tail end, then pull it through. So this is our slip knot, which I'm going to place onto my hook, and we're just going to tighten it down. So as I said, the multiple is 8 plus 2, so I'm just going to go ahead and chain multiples of 8. There we go. So that's multiples of 8. So altogether, I've got 24 stitches. And now we're going to do plus 2, okay? So 2 extra stitches. So altogether, I've chained 26. Now into the second chain from the hook, I'm going to start working a standing double crochet. So that's extend your loop. Place your finger onto that loop and hold on to it for the duration of creating a stitch. Spin it towards you, so we've got 2 loops on a hook. Now insert into the second chain from the hook, yarn over pull through. I've got 3 loops. Now yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so that's my first standing double crochet right there. And now the first row is really simple because we're just gonna work 1 double crochet all the way across the starting chain. If you do have the patience, then let's work into the back bumps of that foundation chain for a neater result. Okay, so I'm going to spin it slightly to the back, and to work double crochet it's yarn over, insert your hook through the back bump of that chain like this, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so that's the double crochet. And as I said, row 1 is pretty straightforward because we're just going to be working 1 double crochet into each chain across, and at the end of this row I will have 25 double crochet stitches, which is multiples of 8 plus 1. Okay, but the starting chain is multiples of 8 plus 2, because we need to start working into the second chain from the hook. So go ahead, work up row 1, which is just straightforward row of double crochets, and I'll meet you back when we're going to work on row 2 together. Here we are at the end of row 1 with just double crochet all the way across, and as I said, the starting chain determines the length of your top. So if you wanted to adjust the overall length, just create as many multiples of 8 as you need to, then plus 2. Okay, for row 2 we're going to turn our work and we're going to work back across the row. Row 2 is pretty straightforward again because we're going to start with standing double crochet again. So extend your loop, spin it round, insert into the stitch, yarn over and pull through, then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Then we're going to chain 1, we're going to skip the next stitch and work double crochet into the next stitch. Then again, chain 1, skip 1 and double crochet into next. So we are creating this open mesh looking stitch where we chain 1, skip the next stitch and work double crochet in next. So this is the stitch pattern for row 2. Go ahead, work row 2, and I will meet you back when we're going to work row 3 together. So here we go, this is row 2 finished, and I worked my last double crochet into the top of that standing double crochet from previous row. Now for row 3 we're going to turn again, and this is where we're going to work the beautiful shell stitch. So to start row 3 again, do your standing double crochet, so extend your loop, spin it around, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And now what we're going to do is miss the next 1 chain space, miss the next double crochet, miss the next 1 chain space, and we're going to concentrate on that next double crochet there. Okay, and we're going to work 3 double crochet all in that same double crochet there. Okay, so that's 1, 2 and 3. Okay, then I'm going to chain 2 and work another 3 double crochet into that very same stitch. Okay, like this. And then again we're going to look at our row, so that's the first shell finished. Now I'm going to again skip the next 1 chain space, skip the double crochet, skip the 1 chain space, and into the next double crochet we're going to place simple 1 double crochet like this. Okay, nothing else but 1 double crochet. Then again, skip the chain space, skip the double crochet, skip the chain space, and into the next double crochet we're going to place another shell. So I'm going to work 3 double crochet, then we're going to chain 2 and work another 3 double crochet into that very same stitch. like this. And again, skip the chain space, skip the double crochet, skip the chain space, and into the next double crochet we're going to place one standalone double crochet there. Okay, so we're alternating double crochet with the shell stitches. So let's work the last shell of the row. So we're going to skip what we need to skip, and into that double crochet I'm going to work another shell. So that's 3 double crochet, chain 2, and 3 double crochet. And that brings us on to the end of the row. Of course, your row for your top would be much longer. So look up the stitch count and everything in the written pattern. And now I'm going to skip the chain space, the double crochet and the chain space, and I'm going to work 1 double crochet into the top of the last stitch. Okay, so this is row 3 finished, like this. Okay, so we've got the shells and the double crochets. Now for row 4 we're going to turn again, and once again we're going to start with standing double crochet. So extend your loop, spin it round, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, now we're gonna chain 3, so that's 1, 2 and 3, and we're gonna skip the 3 double crochets of the shell, and we're gonna concentrate on this 2 chain space in the middle, and in that 2 chain space we're gonna work single crochet. Okay, then we're gonna chain 3 again, so 1, 2 and 3, and we're gonna skip the last 3 stitches of the shell, and we're gonna concentrate on this standalone double crochet there, and we're gonna work a double crochet into the top of that stitch. Okay, like this. And again, chain 3. We're gonna skip these 3 double crochets and work single crochet into the 2 chain space at the top of the shell, and again 3 chain and double crochet, skip the 3 double crochets and work into the top of that standalone double crochet, and again 3 chain and skip the 3 double crochets and a single crochet into that 2 chain space, and for the very last bit is 3 chain, skip the 3 double crochets, and we're going to work 1 double crochet into the top of that last stitch. Okay, like this. So let's take a look at row 4. As you can see, we will need to block it at the end. So that's row 4. Now for row 5, what we're going to do is again standing double crochet. So I'm going to extend my loop, spin it round, insert my hook, yarn over, pull through 2 and pull through 2. Then we're going to chain 1, okay, and we're going to look at this first 3 chain space, and we're going to work into the middle chain. Okay, so skip the first chain, and into the middle chain I'm going to place 1 double crochet into that middle chain, like this. Then we're going to chain 1 and work double crochet into the next single crochet, like this. Then chain 1, and again we've got that 3 chain space, so into the middle chain again I'm going to work 1 double crochet, chain 1, and we've got this double crochet in front of us, so just double crochet into the top. Okay, so what we're basically doing now is creating those 1 chain double crochet 1 chain spaces like we did on row 2, but obviously we need to work across this row, which is slightly different. Okay, so again chain 1, and we've got the 3 chain space, so into the second chain in the middle, chain 1, and 1 double crochet into the top of that, single crochet, chain 1, again into the middle chain stitch of the 3 chain space, chain 1, double crochet into the top of that, double crochet, chain 1, again the middle chain, chain 1 into the single crochet, chain 1 into the chain stitch, which brings us onto the very end stitch. So chain 1 and 1 double crochet into the top of that first standing double crochet, like this. Okay, so that's row 5 finished there. We created our double crochet and 1 chain spaces, and row 6, you might have guessed right, is pretty straightforward because we're going to start with standing double crochet once again, like this, and then place double crochet into the next 1 chain space, so just around that 1 chain space, then double crochet into the top of that double crochet, and again into the 1 chain space and into the top of the double crochet. And this is your stitch repeat for the rest of the row. So go ahead and work up row 6 and I'll meet you back at the end. And here we are, this is our small swatch ready, as you can see. So you can you're gonna know where to place the stitches and how to work the stitch pattern. And from now on is basically a repeat of row 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, so it's these 5 rows that you're just gonna keep repeating to build up the width of your top, because our top's gonna basically sit this way. Okay, so that's gonna be your neck and your waist. So this is the way the stitch is going to run. So the number of rows is going to determine the width of the 1/2 of your top, because we need to make 2 halves. And as I said, the starting chain is going to determine the total length of your top. So if you want to adjust the length, it's multiples of 8 plus 2. If you want to adjust the width, you're just going to repeat row 2 to 6 as many times as you need to for the 1/2, and then you're going to repeat and work up the second half. But I'm going to guide you through the process of how to work the last row on the first half, and then how to join onto the second half so we can create our summer top. And here we are, I have got 1/2 of my top worked up, and I just wanted to guide you through the very last row on the first half. Okay, so this is the last row. It's the same for all the sizes, but it's just going to be slightly different stitch count for a few of the sizes, from the smallest to the largest. Okay, so to work the last row of the first half, I'm gonna pop this loop back on my hook, and what we're gonna do is start with 1 chain, so chain 1, which doesn't count as a stitch at all, and we're gonna work single crochet into the first stitch. Okay, so insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's our first single crochet. Then we're going to chain 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then I'm going to skip 3 stitches on the main row and work single crochet into the next one, like this. Okay, so basically we're going to be creating these 5 chain loops separated by single crochets. Again, chain 5, 4 and 5, then skip 3 stitches, and into the next one is 1 single crochet, like this. Again, chain 5, skip the 3 stitches and single crochet in next. And once again, how many of these loops we need to create is in a written pattern for your chosen size. So go ahead and look that up in a written pattern. create as many loops as the pattern call for, and I'll meet you back when we're gonna work the rest of the row. And here we go. As you can see, I've been creating my loops at the front. Now my last repeat is chain 5 and skip the 3 stitches. Now the next part of the pattern will give you the amount of single crochets to work, okay? So I'm going to skip 3 stitches, finish my last loop repeat, and then work single crochet in next and single crochet across. As I said, the written pattern will give you exact amount of single crochet stitches that you need to work, so look it up in a written pattern. Basically, these single crochet stitches will get us over what is gonna then become our neckline opening, okay? So we're already edging our neckline in the process by just working 1 single crochet into each stitch for as many stitches as the written pattern calls for your chosen size. So go ahead and work them up, and I'll meet you back on the other side of the panel where we're gonna mirror the start again and create some loops, which we will use for joining the 2 panels together at the end. And here I have worked across just in plain single crochet stitches across what is going to become our neckline opening. And now on the other side, we basically need to mirror what we started with and create some loops on this side again. So I've got my last single crochet here. Now what I'm going to do is chain 5. And again, skip 3 stitches and single crochet in next. Again, chain 5, skip 3 stitches and single crochet in next. Okay, so that's the repeat again on the other side of our work. And I'm going to repeat creating these loops until the end of my row. And you should have the same amount of loops on this side as we have on the first side, okay? So same amount of loops on both sides with those single crochet stitches in the middle, which are going to become our neckline. So go ahead and work up your loops, as many as your pattern calls for your size. And when you get to the end of the row, we can fasten off this first half because we're going to be working on the second half and joining them together. This is our first half finished. As you can see, I fastened off at the end after creating our loops. And if I just flip it this way, it's probably going to look more like a 1/2 of a top. So what we have here is this is going to be our neckline opening where we work the single crochet stitches. And now these loops running at the front and at the back as well here, that's the loops we're going to use to join our 2 halves together. And when I say 2 halves, let's bring the other half into the picture. So this is our second half of the top, and once we join them together through the loops at the front and at the back, this is going to be then our V-neck opening, okay? So first half is finished and fastened off. Now let's move on to the second half. Okay, let's line up our work. So I've got my first half up here. It's pretty reversible fabric, so you just need to decide which side is going to be your right side and which side's going to be your wrong side. Okay, so let's bring our 2 halves together like this. And what we need to do is just line them up so they match, okay? So as you can see, this is the wrong side of the last double crochet row. So let's make sure that the last double crochet row on the other panel is also facing wrong side out. So I need to flip this over like this, okay? So this is what we need to do, okay? The double crochet rows are facing the same way. And now what we're going to do is join these 2 halves together. So we're going to start on the second half. We're going to start with chain 1 and work 1 single crochet into the first stitch like this. And then we're going to grab the first half and find our last single crochet there, and we're going to simply slip stitch through that first single crochet like this, and that joins them, that joins the two panels together at the very end. And now what we're going to do for the lacy joining row, I'm going to chain 2, so 1, 2. Then I'm going to find the first 5 chain space, or the first 5 chain loop on the first half. So I chained 2, and I'm going to slip stitch into that 5 chain space, okay? Then I'm going to chain 2 again, and then on the second half I'm going to skip 3 stitches and work single crochet in next, okay, like this. So we're joining it through together through those 5 chain loops, okay? Now I'm going to do the second loop. So again, I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, and I'm going to slip stitch into the next 5 chain space on the first half, like this. Then I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to skip 3 stitches on the second half and work single crochet in next. Okay, so let's do one more. Chain 2, slip stitch into the next 5 chain space on the first half, then chain 2 and skip 3 stitches on the second half and single crochet in next. Okay, so if I just quickly show you here, what we're basically doing is exactly the same thing that we did on the first half, where we work single crochet, chain 5, skip 3. But on the second half, because we need to start joining the two panels together, what we're doing is single crochet, and this is a chain 5 space, but we're chaining 2, slip stitching into this chain 5 space on the first half with the slip stitch, and then chain 2 again. So altogether we do have 5 stitches, but we are replacing the middle third chain of that 5 chain space with a slip stitch that is joining it onto the 5 chain loop that is already there on the first half. Okay, so I hope this makes sense, and I hope it's not too tricky for you. I'm pretty sure we can manage through together. So again, chain 2, then grab the next 5 chain loop on the first half and just work a slip stitch into that one, then chain 2 again. So this is like if I did my chain 5, skip 3 stitches on the second half and single crochet in next. Okay, again, chain 2, slip stitch into the next 5 chain space on the first half, chain 2, skip 3 stitches on the second half, and 1, 2, 3, single crochet in next. Okay, so I hope you can see this. And this is how pretty that lacy joint is gonna look once we work it all the way up. Okay, so I'm gonna continue joining my panels together by working 2 chain, okay, slip stitch into that 5 chain space on the first half, then again chain 2, and looking at the second half, skip 3 and single crochet next. Okay, so all I'm going to do now is continue joining all these loops, and the amount of loops on your first half should guide you, because we're gonna then repeat the same thing for the neckline. Okay, so go ahead and use up all these loops that we created on the first half, okay, however many you have for your size, use them all up, and then when we work the last single crochet, we're then gonna mirror the other side and just work plain single crochet until we get to the other side of the loops. And here we are, I have used up all the loops as you can see and did my last 2 chain. So I'm going to skip 3 stitches and then work single crochet in next. And this is the first single crochet that we need to now go ahead and just work single crochet across the neckline opening before we get to the other side. And as you can see, we've got some loops on this side, and it's going to be exactly the same process of joining through the loops. I have worked 81 stitches across the neckline opening, or however many you need for your neckline opening, and that brings me on to the first loop here. So as I finish the last single crochet, again I'm going to chain 2 like this and grab the first loop and again slip stitch through that 5 chain loop on that first half, there, and again chain 2, and on the second half skip the 3 stitches and single crochet in next. And from then is the same process again, chain 2, slip stitch through the next 5 chain space on that first half, chain 2, and skip 3 stitches and single crochet in next. Okay, so it's exactly the same join there as we have been doing for the first part of the pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and work for the rest of the row, and I'll meet you back for the last stitch where we're going to mirror the first stitch we did, where we're going to slip stitch into the last single crochet. But let's go ahead and work up the join and I'll meet you back. So I have 1 loop left there, so we're going to again chain 2, slip stitch through the very last loop, chain 2, skip 3 stitches and work single crochet in that last stitch on second half like this. And to join the very last bit, we're gonna slip stitch into the last single crochet on the first half as well, and fasten off because we are done with the joining. Okay, there we go. So this is the lacy join on the other side. As you can see, we'll need blocking out. And now we've got the back panel, we've got the neckline opening, and we've got the front panel join here. So all that's left to do is find your neckline opening, and what we're going to do is just fold it across halfway like this. Okay, and this is our shoulders. Okay, this is our neckline opening on the front and on the back. And then if I bring you closer to here, this is the lacy join that we have been creating through the front and through the back. So the next step that we need to tackle is joining the sides of our work. Okay, so we're going to join down the sides, and again the great thing about this is that we have got lovely stitches to work through, so we're going to use the flat slip stitch join. But what we're going to do is start from the bottom of our top and work our way up towards the armhole, because it's completely up to you how wide you want your armhole to be, how deep. You can customize it to fit you comfortably, or make it a statement if you want them really open or closed up. So let's go ahead and join the sides. Okay, now we're going to move on to attaching the sides of our top. So I've got the sides here, and as I said, let's start from the bottom, because this way you can work up towards the armhole and leave as big opening for your sleeves as you want to, whether you want them wider, more narrow, whatever you want to do. So let's start at the bottom of our top, and we'll be working on the right side of our work, so the seam will be visible on your top. So firstly, let's create a slip knot with our yarn like this, and we're going to use the flat slip stitch method, and what we're going to do is work through back loops only of both of the stitches on both sides. So it's going to be back loop of that stitch and then back loop of this stitch. Okay, so it's basically gonna be, if you look at the top loops of the 2 rows, okay, it's gonna be the 2 loops that are closer to each other. Okay, so this one and this one, the ones closer together, so that's the 2 we're going to be working through. Okay, so I have created my slip knot here, and to join in, what I'm going to do is place my hook through the back loop of the first stitch there, kind of from like a top down, okay, because our working yarn is going to sit below. And this is proving to be a little bit tricky because this is one of the chain stitches that just gotta be too tight, but there we go. So through that one and through the back loop on this one, okay, and then I'm gonna bring the slip knot kind of from the bottom, put it on my hook and pull it through these 2, okay. And as I said, you want your yarn coming from the bottom of your work, okay? So this is how I hold mine. If you find a different way comfortable, by all means go for it, okay? So I've got the slip knot pulled through the first 2 loops, and now we're gonna go through the, I hope you can see this, let me get up closer. So we've got the back loop of this stitch, like this, and back loop of the other stitch, then I yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, just tug on this end a little bit because that got a bit loose. There we go. Okay, so really this yarn, as you can see, is coming from the bottom. If I drop it down there, it's just I tend to hold my yarn around my index finger, but through the back loop on one side, through the back loop on the other side, then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Okay, so this is the flat slip stitch join. Okay, and we, as I said, work all the way up to wherever you want your armhole to finish. There are measurements in the written pattern if you are making a top for someone else. These are standard body measurements according to the Craft Yarn Council, so go ahead and look them up if you're making a top to a specific size for someone else and not for yourself, so you can look that up. And this is the flat slip stitch join. Okay, so we've got these lovely loops showing at the top, and it's a really nice and secure join that actually looks pretty as well. So you don't have to do it extra loose or extra tight, just nice and steady like this. Okay, so that's your flat slip stitch join, and I'm gonna work it up all the way up to my armhole and then repeat exactly the same process on the other side, and then our top will be finished. So let's go ahead and finish it, speed through attaching the sides here, and I'll meet you back when it's all done. And that's it, your beautiful lace summer top is ready to wear. I hope you had as much fun making it as I did walking you through it. If you enjoyed this video tutorial, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more fun and easy crochet projects just like this one. If you have a question or want to show off your finished top, drop me a comment below. I love hearing from you and seeing your creations. If you share your work on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Facebook, be sure to tag Blue Star Crochet so I can see your versions. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.